Well, hello, my beautiful Sagittarians. Welcome to my channel. This is Baba Jolie here with your career and money reading for the end of June, right through the end of July 2025. I've already cleansed your space and have meditated on your cards. For those of you who are returning, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for all your wonderful likes, shares, and subscribes. I am truly grateful for all your beautiful energy. Just a little reminder though, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one reading, just so you're aware. Also, please be mindful, scammers are about, pretend to be me and lots of other tarot readers. I do not do personal readings and I will never reach out to you personally to offer one. Also, I will never ask you for money, e-gifts, or donations. So if anyone masquerading as me asks for anything at all, please report them or ignore them. It is a scam, okay? Let's move straight on with your reading. Now, I'm using Gaia chimes, so please be mindful to turn down your volume if you are someone who is sensitive to sound, okay? So let us begin. Okay, my beautiful Sagittarians, this is your career and money reading. I'm going to get all of your cards first before I connect to an outcome. So let us begin. Thank you so much, Spirit Guides, Guardian Angels. Can you please guide my beautiful Sagittarians? What do they need to know regarding their career and their money situation at this time? Can you please show them the way? What are they meant to be aware of on the path ahead? What is it they need to be seeing at this time regarding their current situation and what is to come? Can you please illuminate the way for them? Now, I don't know if you noticed, but the Gaia chimes were very thoughtful in the energy. So I did get this kind of overarching energy from your kind of vibrations that you're deeply reflective about something at this time. Deep in thought. Yeah, there's your introspection card. We've got the Hermit energy right there. So deeply in thought about your higher calling, your path. And we've also got, of course, the High Priestess energy. So this can indicate, yes, deeply reflective on something, reprogramming in some way. It can be that you're shifting your perspective. You're working towards the same goal, of course. I definitely see you're very goal-oriented and very creative, very passionate about what you do. And I do feel that some of you may even go off in order to limit distractions over the next coming weeks and months, to really align with something that is your purpose, something you've been called to do. You're working towards something in secret, perhaps. You know, power moves in silence. So a lot of you could be launching your own business or perhaps branching out in some way if you already have your own business. We've got the Justice card there, balance, harmony. We have the Three of Pentacles. Now it is in the resistance position. So if you are in some sort of group activity, or even if you're in a company where you work with other people, or you have some sort of co-alliance or collaboration, I feel a lot of you could actually go off on your own over the next coming weeks and months in order to work on something creative yourself. Perhaps there's something here that you're called to do that keeps coming through very strongly. Now, of course, we also have, how would you like to receive? Okay, so we have a Queen of Pentacles, so multiplying your wealth. We have a Knight of Pentacles there as well. So working really hard, diligently, determined to make something work. A lot of you could have some money-making ideas over the next coming weeks and months to complement whatever it is that you're doing already. Okay, the Queen of Pentacles is to conserve what you have, so saving plans. A lot of you may even think about something you could do from the home space. Now, you know, aside from a career, it could be that you're decluttering your life right now because you're deeply reflective there. And it could be that you are selling pre-loved goods, things that perhaps you've outgrown, could bring in some extra money there for you. That's a little sideline that's coming through in the reading. We've got the Two of Wands there, and we've got the Page of Pentacles. So some sort of new money coming in for some of you. You're working really hard for it, is what I see. Now, of course, you have a lot of cards that have pentacles there, so you are definitely keeping your focus firmly on your money, your acquisitions, and the things that you are... Oh, I'm just locking off this deck for you over here. You know, I feel a lot of you could be starting something up, or perhaps there's something new coming on in. Now, if you're in a job where you work for a company, there could be some sort of shift there where there's a new department opening up. You may be asked to be involved in it in some way. The Page of Pentacles can often indicate some sort of increase in finances, so new money coming on in, perhaps even a raise, you know, promotion or small bonus there. If you work in an industry that doesn't give bonuses, it could be commission, or it could be a tip, for example, or it could be some sort of opportunity to reinvest and flourish in your career. So it could be a training scheme offered to some of you. And, you know, if you are someone who works independently, if you are your own boss, you could actually be looking at reinvesting in yourself and your training to acquire new knowledge, okay? Now, I want you to be aware, I'll address this first. If you've come to this reading and you're currently out of work, either you had to walk away from something because the Hermit is to withdraw. Some of you may have left a position or were made redundant, for example. You know, you may be currently searching for a new role. And looking at the energy, I mean, you're starting with the Empress energy, which means you're very established at what you do. You're very gifted, you know, very talented at what you do. And you may have come across some people saying that you're overqualified, okay, for a position. And I want you to be aware that, of course, you know, you are very good at what you do, okay? You have a lot of acquired knowledge, but also a lot of, you know, natural gifts there, and partnered together, you are someone who is a force to be reckoned with in your industry. And anyone who is telling you that you're overqualified, it basically means that they would hire you on the spot, but they're just not willing to open up the budget in order to pay you what you deserve for that role. Okay, so if you're having a lot of closed doors on you right now, it's because the universe is trying to align you with this new opportunity, okay? And there's actually two roles coming on in. Now, I have to be honest with you, the Empress energy indicates that you are someone who has high status, or you're someone who has had some sort of status in your career sector. And, you know, we've got a Queen of Pentacles here, and we have a Page of Pentacles. So this can indicate two opportunities coming in towards you. One has status, okay, not as high status as you were before. I gotta be honest, there's a change in title. Doesn't mean it's any less, really. It just means that for some of you, it may be a little bit lesser money, or kind of the same sort of money. But then there's an opportunity that sees you like go into a different industry or a different sector where you migrate your skills, and the money seems to be a lot lower than what you were before, but there's an opportunity to flourish and increase your money there, okay? Now, of course, it depends on what you want to do there, but I do see that there's two opportunities coming in for you. And one of them, there could be certain hours that really benefit you. So it could be that, you know, there's a nice package financially that comes with this, but you may have like one day off, for example, as opposed to working 5 days a week. It could be, you know, 4 days. For some of us, we work 7 days, so it could be 6 days, you know, so it depends on what you're doing already or what it is you used to do. And, you know, there is a shift there. So that's coming through for you, but it could be that you get the opportunity to work from home sometimes, and you get to occasionally go into like an office or a base, a hub, as it were. So please take it as it resonates. I would say one of them is really connected to your sense of purpose. The other one, I feel, is something that you can really grow in. You're a little bit cautious or uncertain about this other opportunity, and I would say mainly because you will make a lot of effort in that role, and it just isn't paying the salary that you're hoping for at this time to run your life in general, okay? I feel it is a new step in a different direction, but it is exciting, So it depends on your circumstances. You may explore both and see if they can work, because I'm seeing a calculator right now in the water. So I see you'll calculate your options there, but I do see some really good options coming in, especially in one of the roles, okay? So it does have status, it has money that will be supportive of your endeavors, and it will grow exponentially over time. But also I feel one of them is, how can I put this? It feels like a managerial role or some sort of like a standalone position, but you will occasionally dip into group activity, but you kind of manage something, or it feels like that in the role, okay? It's a very serious role is what I'm seeing. That's the one that gives you the most money. And the other one is you kind of learn as you earn as well. So you will acquire new skills, but the money isn't as high in that one. That's what I've got coming through. So with a lot of love and respect, I will leave that there and disconnect, okay? But some of you, if you are currently out of work, or even if you're not, I see a lot of you thinking of second streams of income in order to pool your resources, okay? I mean, you are someone who is highly gifted and talented. When you get the Empress energy, this indicates that, you know, you've been through some stuff in your working environment. You've acquired a lot of knowledge, but also you're nourishing yourself in a different way. So if you're currently working for a company, and even if you work for yourself, you could be thinking about health and safety things at this time. So some of you may actually decide to volunteer for a health and safety position if you work in like a company. It could be like a benefit there, more responsibility, but also it comes with a financial incentive to take that responsibility. So it could see your pay packet increase slightly by being a fire warden or a health and safety kind of principled person who everyone will go to should there ever be a need for it. And if you work for yourself, you could actually be looking at, you know, your surroundings. So for example, if you work from home, it could be that you're deciding to get some health and safety equipment for the home space, or insurance, for example, if, you know, you have a studio in your home, for example, and people are coming to visit, like clients or customers. It could be that you're looking at insurance options at this time, because the planetary alignment kind of connects us to humanitarian aid, but also to health and safety, because we have that Virgo influence during the month of June. So some of you could be looking at that at this time. Now, of course, this card can indicate a parent. So it can be that you're managing being a parent, doing life and working at the same time. And it's pretty hard, exhausting. You're trying to balance the two with the justice energy right there. So it can indicate that, you know, for some of you, you may have to take, you know, some time off during June. It could be because, you know, it's school holidays, for example. It could be that you're having a bit of a getaway during that time, or even a staycation for some of you with that Hermit energy. That is to withdraw. But, you know, of course, you're going to have a wonderful time there, group activities, and the Two of Wands can indicate that if you're traveling, you know, I feel like because the Two of Wands is initially in the resistance position, it means that you won't really have many delays. So that's really positive, okay? When you're returning, there may be a few delays. And some of you may be like, oh, well, you know, I'm returning then, so it don't matter. But, you know, just be a little bit mindful of the return part of any vacation. Now, of course, moving away from the energy, this indicates that you're super organized, very productive this month, whatever it is that you're doing. A lot of you, if you are not your own boss, I definitely see here that in the future, you're making waves to move towards that, because you have so much skill and so much knowledge that you could creatively run things yourself, okay? Now, of course, when you work for yourself, it's 24/7, okay? So a lot of you will be trying to find a healthy cutoff point or a balance sort of pinnacle point where you adjust and find fun and time for yourself, time to withdraw and relax there as well. But I'd say lots of creative ideas coming to you this month, and being really productive and organized, because the Justice card is like cause and effect. Whatever you implement during the next coming weeks and months, you know, you're going to see some sort of payoff for it later on. So if you're working really hard towards some sort of promotion, I mean, if you're in a company and you're looking for a promotion right now, yes, with that Three of Pentacles, it could be offered in-house. There's some competition for it. But looking at your energy, I feel some of you may not hear about a promotion this month, or in, I mean, this is until July as well. I feel there may be behind the scenes, like closed doors talks about a role opening up, but it's not going to be finalized or ready for the next couple of months is what I'm seeing there, okay? Some of you may even orchestrate leaving a position, putting your resume out there because you feel like you've hit a plateau or a glass ceiling in your current circumstances. I mean, your purpose here, because this is the protagonist energy and it is your first card, you want to flourish and thrive in your career, okay? This is about you creating more opportunities for abundance, to increase your wealth, stability. A lot of you will be thinking about your 401ks. You may even have meetings with financial advisors through your company, or, you know, if you run your own company, it could be something you're looking at this time, because this is a very mature energy. So it can indicate that you're thinking about mature aspects of life right now. You're thinking about retirement. You're thinking about your nest egg, as it were. And some of you may even be close to retirement and thinking about, you know, the date that you want to withdraw from the working environment, and then thinking about your sense of purpose and whether you have enough money. I mean, looking at the Queen of Pentacles there and the Page of Pentacles, I feel there's two avenues of finances here. So whether you're thinking about consolidating your acquisitions, like you're pooling your pensions together, or whether you're getting a financial advisor because you have different acquisitions like real estate and perhaps some sort of alternative money coming on in. It feels like one is smaller than the other, whatever it is, but I do see here that you're going to be very comfortable in your retirement and you're really going to enjoy it, but you're also really savvy. So a lot of you could be enlisting some sort of legal help at this time, because the Justice card can indicate legalities there. But ultimately, I feel whether you're retiring, or even if you're retired right now and you've come to this reading and you're wondering about your finances, some of you, you know, you have such a talent that perhaps you haven't even tapped into at this time. It could be that you're doing something that is a hobby for you that you're super gifted at, and you could actually utilize things like the internet, because when you have, you know, the Justice card, this can be, you know, avenues that are connected to the ether, because swords are all about, you know, the internet, the ether, the mind, thought. So it could be that you are creating an opportunity to connect to like a social media platform. And if you are retired, it could be that you could utilize your knowledge, you know, and all your experience there about either an industry you used to work in, or even your move towards retirement and the process it took and the pitfalls to avoid, and, you know, the things that you found, how you feel about it, how you're on a different pace or time. So these are things that perhaps you could engineer as a plan at this time that could actually bring you in more wealth. So if you're thinking on those lines at this time, whether you're retired or not, or thinking about just finances in general, I feel like there's a lot of options available to you right now, and you may be playing with those ideas in your mind in order to work out what's right for you, okay? So again, with a lot of respect, I'm moving away from that energy. You know, the Justice card indicates you're going to be connected to a lot of serious energy this month. And what I mean by that is, you know, you're highly productive, but also there's a lot of paperwork. Some of you may be doing like tax receipts or keeping things organized at this time. Some of you are calculating something there. Some of you, not all of you, but some of you may actually be called to jury service during the next month or 6 weeks there, and you may have to withdraw from working for a while, and there may be some sort of compensation there. Okay, I've never done jury service, so I can't really tell you there, but you may have to fill in some paperwork regarding that. I mean, looking at the energy, Two of Wands, some of you may actually have something planned or booked where you will need to reschedule this jury service, and you may have to withdraw briefly, but there'll be a slight delay and they'll offer you a new date. And I feel this new date is something that you can incorporate in your working environment, whether you're an entrepreneur, work for yourself, you know, sole trader, independent worker, or even you work for a company. You know, the Justice card can indicate you'll get some sort of legal letter there regarding jury service that could come through. But also for the majority of you, I feel this is about looking at contracts. Some of you, if there's a merge going on behind the scenes, because we do have that Three of Pentacles, or even a demerger, you could witness like a company that you either work for or your own company could be merging at this time, and you're looking over contracts, rules, regulations, stipulations, policies, things like that. And it can be that you're just getting organized, filing things, or getting legal help regarding these acquisitions and these mergers. You know, if you're working for a company and there's a merge or even a demerge, you know, there could be new contracts on the table for you. And for some of you, looking at the energy, you know, I would say pay close attention to the fine print of any new contracts, because it will nullify anything that went before. And if you were getting some really good benefits there, there could be a change in that. There could be a downsizing of that. So you may want to negotiate a better deal on that. I want you to be aware of that. But because the High Priestess is there, it could be that they try to like put something in the contract that is really in the fine print that feels a little bit like cloudy or uncertain. So questioning is the key. Whenever you get a High Priestess and the Justice card, this is to question. This is to look at something a little bit deeper and try and understand it. So if they're using like technical jargon and you're like, what does that mean? And you can't find what it means, because sometimes like I'll look over contracts myself and be like, the bearer of this, therefore I witness, and you're like, what? Just say, you know what, you owe me this, I owe you that. That's the end of it, okay? But you know, if there's anything that you have a question mark over, definitely get some legal advice, or even you know, make sure that you search online, okay? Now, this card can indicate a need to be flexible this month, because you are going to be super busy, and there could be some sort of project that you return to that you've put on the sidelines, okay? Something is calling to you, something that you've been meaning to get around to doing, whether it is filing or whether it is something creative. I definitely see that this is the month where you'll launch yourself into it. Some of you, this can be done from home because you have the Queen of Pentacles there. So it could be that some of you take your work home with you. But I feel a lot of you, there is this need for a healthy cutoff point there. This card can indicate that you are spreading your time between two things, and because there are two sources of income here, it could be that you're working on launching something or investing in new knowledge in order to enter new pay grades, or indeed like set up on your own. You know, for some of you, this could be a legal structure of becoming your own boss, setting up a legal entity in order to, you know, run your business or your independent working life, so that you can actually be more efficient with your finances, for example. But the Justice card indicates that, you know, you are looking at reciprocity right now. You're bringing your A game, you're investing fully in whatever it is that you do. You're passionate, you're driven, you're determined, and you just want to make sure that what you are doing is actually bearing fruit and paying you the rewards that you really deserve for that. So you may be adjusting the balance some way in order to make sure that you get what you truly deserve. And if you feel like you've hit that plateau, or you feel like you are going above and beyond, but the pay package is not reflecting that at this time, you could be looking for alternative opportunities. If you've gone for an interview, I feel it's the same thing. There's two roles here coming through that you'll have to choose from. And I feel you may be doing this hush-hush, but I feel the opportunity that arises, it's like a dream job, the one that you really want, that pays the right money, that really invests in you and helps flourish your skill set. And I feel, you know, there's this family feel to the environment, and it feels you'll still be like in a standalone position, but at the same time, like integrated somehow. And if you work for yourself, this could be a networking event where if you're working solo, you know, some of you may want to get involved in some sort of like career expo or an industry event where you meet like-minded individuals, or even think about co-working spaces where you share an environment that's not too distracting, is what I see, but at the same time, you know, you can bond with people, especially if you're a solo worker. For some of you, you may even want to be a little bit more nomadic in your working environment, but looking at the energy, a lot more of you want to have a base somewhere. So with that Two of Wands, even though you may want to kind of like travel around, or that you're looking forward to perhaps legally setting up your business overseas for some of you, not all of you, but if you're thinking about those things right now, because you're deep in thought and looking at your options and weighing up the pros and cons of something, because we have that Justice card energy there. It can be that, you know, the idea of traveling is wonderful, you love it, you can move around a lot, but at the same time, you may want to find a base somewhere overseas and then do your traveling from there. So a lot of you may be looking at that at this time. Now, this card, no matter what you do, whether you're working for yourself or for a company, you know, or an independent worker or an entrepreneur, you know, the Knight of Pentacles indicates that you're working from your heart, you're diligent, you're loyal, you know, you are paying close attention to detail, you're being really practical, and also you're faithful to a cause, basically. I feel like you're hardworking, and the payoff that you get from any, you know, environment or investment or, you know, thing that you're doing basically is coming from your hard work. Okay, so you're fully invested at this time. You know, this card can indicate there that you feel right now that things are kind of stagnant, or it's the same old thing, just a different day, because the Knight of Pentacles doesn't move, okay? They are in a position for a long time. So it's like you're looking for loyalty in the working environment, but you may feel that you're in some sort of routine or habit, or, you know, it seems like the same old thing, just a different day. So you may be trying to make some adjustments in order to keep things fresh, or even like, you know, get new tools or have new ideas in order to keep things sparking. I mean, when I lit your candle, I use a match to light the candle, and then I hover the match over the water because I'm scrying at the same time as doing your reading, and I see what images are in there, and I actually saw a footprint in there, and I'm only mentioning it because I'm seeing it again now in the water. But then I extinguish the match in the water, okay, and as I did that, this huge spark just flew right up into the air. Now, I wouldn't mention that unless the footprint just came out in the water there as I was scrying. And there is this spark. So it can be like a new idea suddenly takes you in a different direction. And it could be a new money-making idea. But ultimately, I feel like you are this bright spark. You're so gifted and talented, and you're very productive. And, you know, we have that star energy, which means you could be above the competition, or you are the star worker in some way. So it could be like employee of the month, or it could be that you are healing a part of yourself in the working environment, especially if you've been in a very toxic working environment. But with the Empress being such like a high position in the working environment, you know, it can be that there's no room for maneuver where you feel like you're at right now. It's just going to be a plateau of where you're at. So if there is an opportunity for you to staircase, and later on, for some of you in the next coming months, I don't feel it's this month, I gotta be honest with you, you know, in terms of a new role, I feel there could be new avenues opening up for you in the next coming months. But right now, it feels like you are where you're at, and I feel that some of you are just trying to make some adjustments in order to keep things fresh at this time. You know, the Knight of Pentacles can indicate that your finances are as they are, okay? That you are trying really hard to pay the bills, that you're also trying to save some money, so you may be stricter with your budget during this time. I mean, I do see you treating yourself on a personal level there, maybe to a vacation or a quick getaway there for some of you, maybe even something in and around the home space for some of you, because I see this Queen of Pentacles as beautifying your home at this time. But ultimately, you're working towards wealth and comfort, you know, and protecting your finances as well. So I feel like you're conserving your finances at this time, and you may actually save a little bit more money than you expected in July, is what I'm seeing, because this is for the end of June into July, okay? Now, we do have the Hermit energy, and this is to be insular, it is to do a lot of thinking, but also because it's in a resistance position at first, it can indicate that someone, because there's a Three of Pentacles, it can indicate that someone makes a mistake, okay? And you have to be the person who steps up in order to correct it in some way. That's what I mean by you end up being the star worker, or the person who spots a mistake. And I feel like you may implement some sort of structure in order to make sure it doesn't happen again, okay? That's coming through strongly. Now, of course, there is an energy here of you may have been thinking about doing something for some time, but because this card is in the reverse position, it's like the time of thinking is over. It's time for action now. And it's like you're on the precipice of change. You're invested in something. You're definitely focused on your finances, but all that like wisdom, that pearls of knowledge that you have right now, it feels like it's sitting there. And there's a dream opportunity that either you could launch or move forward with, but right now you're sitting on it, okay? So it could be that you're investing in yourself to gain new knowledge of how to structure or launch this. For some of you, it could also be that you are looking for like an intermediary. And what I mean by that, like an agent or a publisher or a manager or a platform that can help you springboard from. So some of you may actually encounter a person who is going to help you over the next coming weeks and months there in order to help you realize your dream. You know, I really feel like you have friends in high places, or you're about to meet a person that can offer you a nugget of information or some sort of opportunity to make whatever it is that you're doing happen, okay? Now, I definitely see a lot of you are calling yourself to task as well and making sure that you do not procrastinate, okay? When you have this card in the resistance position, it means that you're not procrastinating, you're super busy there, you're focused on your goals, but there may be like a secret goal that you have that you're not telling anybody about, and I feel this is really going to flourish and thrive for you, okay? Now again, Three of Pentacles in the resistance position. A lot of you are doing this without any support, okay? You're self-made, whatever it is you're doing, I feel like you're doing it alone. And I feel with this Three of Pentacles, you know, this more than anything is giving me this energy of plans, engineering a plan, because it's what that card actually means. But it can indicate that right now there is a plan that you have on hold, or there's something that you've been meaning to get round to doing. I've mentioned it already. You will return to this. You will involve yourself in this, and you'll start to see that plan take shape. But it feels like it's been sidelined, or it feels like you've been so busy you haven't got round to doing it, but you'll definitely do it, and you're just going to be so proud of yourself that you submerge yourself in this. But a lot of you are learning. So it could be paperwork, learning. I mean, I don't see any tests here. Okay, but it could be that whatever it is you're doing involves learning information and the test is like way off. Okay, so it could be that you're working towards getting a qualification or certification on something that helps you enter a new pay grade. But I feel right now it feels like it's in the works. You're deep in thought, you're acquiring new knowledge. Even the Hermit, when it goes into the upright, is new information. So some of you could be upskilling at this time, or, you know, just acquiring a new way of doing something to remain relevant in your industry in some way. And of course, some of you may be looking at financial structures, you know, generational wealth, because we have that Empress energy. You may be looking at your legacy in your career, in your industry, but also in your bank account there. Three of Pentacles indicates that, you know, you may feel like your plans are not fully realized at this time because it is in the resistance position at first, but then everything starts to take shape and it starts to come together there for you as well. But I feel there's something here you feel you need to go off and do alone at this time, and it complements whatever it is that you're doing right now, okay? Now, we do have that Two of Wands. I mean, it's in the resistance position, which basically is the universe saying, well, what are you waiting for? Get out there. There's a big old wide world. Submerge yourself in your dreams and your plans because they are rooted in reality. I feel like you have a plan here, and because there's so many Earth cards here, it indicates that you're making things happen. You know, stuff is going to happen for you. You know, when you have a Three of Pentacles, it can indicate, you know, early success in a business and, you know, profitable work that's coming in, or some sort of business venture that you're about to submerge yourself in, or you're already involved in, but there's been a bit of a lull or a plateau, but things are starting to build and you're making it happen. Even if there has been a dip in your industry or it's been quiet recently, I definitely see here that things start to take off in a more manageable fashion. It's not going to be too busy. I feel more than anything, like for example, if you're someone who sells items and you've been having a slow period, it can be that suddenly the season picks up a little bit, and rather than having the cheaper items being sold, you're having like large pieces being sold. People are investing and purchasing higher pieces. You know, it feels like that happening there. Please apply it to your situation. That's not going to resonate with everyone, of course. But the Two of Wands indicates that there's been something that has been on pause that will suddenly start moving in the right direction. And some of you, you know, there is an adaptation here because this is a duality card with the Justice card. You may need to make a decision on something over the next coming weeks, something that you're excited about. You know, the Two of Wands can indicate that, you know, it's a time to wait, of course. Something better is coming your way. But because we have that Two of Wands initially in the resistance position, it indicates that you're feeling a bit frustrated with something and you're determined to go from where you're at onto something, you know, more fulfilling. And this can be that you want to flourish or be given more opportunities to staircase your finances, or you're working towards something, but there has been a bit of a wait. But I feel a lot of you are deep in thought as to where you go from here, because you've reached a certain level in your industry or your career, or even if you are like an independent worker, it can be that you have created some wonderful things and now you want to get your creative juices sparking to think about new styles or new ways to branch out, because the Two of Wands can be to branch out or have your work seen, to promote, to be known abroad, for example, or have some sort of creative links elsewhere. So I see a lot of you branching out, diversifying in whatever it is that you do, and you may require new tools or new ways of working in order to make that happen. So I feel this is a very explorative time where you're deep in the plan of it and you've been called to really focus on that. So with the higher calling card, which of course is the Judgment energy, it can indicate that you're thinking about an old way of working and, you know, new technology or new ways of working that streamline whatever it is that you do to make it easier. Okay, the Judgment energy can indicate that there's a rebirth, sudden energy. You know, it can be that you've been feeling exhausted, a need for a break. When the Hermit withdraws, it means that you are burnt out. You feel like there's no support. You're overwhelmed or overworked in some way, and you feel there has to be a shift. There has to be a different way of working. So suddenly you implement some sort of new strategy or structure in order to make sure you have the energy, and it feels like you're revamping something, or, you know, you are suddenly excited about something. There's an awakening or sudden like self-analysis period where you're like, oh my gosh, what if I did this? What if I pressed that button? What if I, you know, created this? Where would it lead? Okay. So I feel there's a lot of what if questions for you right now, where you're getting really explorative in your industry and going, you know what, I'm not stuck. I'm going to use this as a platform and a springboard to launch into something more. And I definitely see that that is what you're called to do at this time. You know, some of you may be launching a project or involved in a project, because with all the cards, it tells me you're submerged in something and deeply reflective of something right now. You're making something happen. You're working really hard. You're in the midst of it. And sometimes when you're involved in the middle of it, you can't see that you're making progress. You've already come as far as you can, and you should celebrate that because you've come a long way. But there's more to come, and there's more reward there as well. I mean, intuitively, you know that you could double down on something that you're working on. For example, you know, if you are someone who works for a company, it could be that, you know, you're acquiring a lot of skills there. You're naturally very gifted, and you could think about writing a manual or a book or something on how to do what you do to inform the next generation of people who will come your way in order to work in the environment you work in. So it could be that, you know, there's two streams of income there. I feel like a lot of you are getting creative in whatever it is that you're doing, and some of you could be utilizing the internet or some sort of technology there that helps you build upon whatever it is that you've got going on already. But you may be doing this in secret, because this is a card of like being off limits. You know, I also see a lot of you, if you do work for a company or even if you work for yourself, it's a review period. So I don't know, is this a month, like a quarterly month, or just before like a review period? Some of you may actually have a review, or you're just taking stock of where you feel like you're at right now, and you're paving the way to the next part of your strategy or plan. It's almost like, you know, you've been doing one part and it's been working, and then you've been waiting for the next part to kick in, or the next part that you can launch, as it were, and then you're just going to hit the ground running, and it's going to be so successful there for you. You know, this is a card of psychic flashes, insight, And I feel a lot of you are intuitively making some very instinctive moves in your career that is going to lead to more, okay? And we have that Queen of Pentacles, so this indicates that you're being very financially savvy at this moment in time, stricter with your finances, making your resources go a long way. So it could be that you find discounts on things that you want to purchase. A lot of you, as I said, are reinvesting in self. This could be a course of learning, upskilling, or some of you may be even looking at videos online, like on a platform like YouTube, for example, where you can get free knowledge on people who do things in certain industries or how to do something. So it could be that you're pooling your resources, saving, but also learning at the same time, and it doesn't have to cost you. But I feel a lot of you, there may be a very niche area that you want to learn. So you may actually, reinvest in self by purchasing a small day course or something online that will help you there. But the Queen of Pentacles can be like, how do I work from home? Or how do I have an industry where I can, double my money? Because the Queen of Pentacles, there's normally rabbits on the Queen of Pentacles, which means to multiply. Okay, how can I make these two things interact in some way and double what I have as an outcome? So it could be that you're looking at something that complements what you do already. But ultimately, this is about you saving. This is a card where you're conserving your finances, you're protecting your wealth, you're someone who is looking at what you earn. So, I'm not really au fait with the stock market, and I would say that economically things may dip as we move through the 15th right through to the 19th. Even beyond to the 29th, because we do have Jupiter, which is a very benevolent planet. It's all about finances, it's about love, it's about opportunity, good luck. It squares Saturn and Neptune. So this clash could indicate there's a sudden dip in the market, but of course it will rise. Everything that dips will rise again, maybe in a different form. But, this clash can actually indicate that suddenly you get really stricter with yourself, or you get a little bit harsh on yourself, critical, and say, I should be doing more. I should really, be doing this. So it may spur you into action on something that perhaps you've been putting to the sidelines, and that's where that energy will come. But if you're into stocks and shares and things like that, just watch out during that period. There could be a small dip going on during that period. So you may want to watch out with that there. Now, the Page of Pentacles, there's money news. So this could be that, you're getting advice on your finances, or there could be some news regarding your 401k, or there could be some, increase in investments, as you move through the end of July there. New income. Some of you, this could be a new job. It could be that something comes on in, you're signing contracts, but it doesn't start until, the later stages of June or into July in some point there. This, is calculating what you have left over after you make all of your effort, make the money, and then pay all your bills. And I feel like there's still some money left over there. You're someone who is dedicated. You are, working really hard, and I feel like you're rooted in your plans, and you're taking stock of things right now in order to move forward. And I feel a lot of you could migrate your skills into something personal. As I mentioned before, this could be the launch of something. This could be the beginning of something here, a startup, for example. And I feel you should be really excited, because I feel this is going to align you with more fortune, and I feel perhaps even more time for you, because I feel there is a balance going on there as well. Now, because there's two people, an Empress and a Queen of Pentacles, for some of you, there may be some sort of secret in the working environment. Either you're going to collaborate and secretly work on a project, or it could be that someone is leaving and they're telling you that they're leaving, and it could be a secret, but they could actually tell you about an opportunity once they've left. Okay, so there is a benefit. Looking at the energy, you benefit in some way for the next coming weeks or months there. Now, what else am I seeing? Yeah, there's definitely a person leaving here. For some of you, it could be you, but you're like putting your resume out there, finding opportunities. There's a lot of energy. It's interesting that I saw a footprint in the water. This could be you making your mark in an industry. It could be that your reputation is rising in some way, but you actually have a lot of hands extended in your cards. As you can see, there's like a mirror there, and there's a hand, and it is like a dream catcher, as it were. So it's like when you put your hand out to the universe for more, the universe wants to deliver more. And you have this sense of value where you know that you're worth it. So therefore, I feel like you're telling the universe, I deserve more. And you're being realistic. You're not being like overly indulgent there. I feel like you're being realistic here and saying, you know, I deserve more. And that Two of Wands is like more, or, you know, I'm capable of having this extra stuff going on here. And, you know, even this final card is like, you're open to receive more opportunity, more abundance, but you're working really hard for it. So it's like an extension of something that you're doing already. So I'm just going to get some final cards for you before I close your reading. Thank you so much, Spirit Guides, Guardian Angels. Can you please guide my beautiful Sagittarians? What do they need to know at this time? Can you please highlight and show them the way? What do they need to be aware of? Thank you so much, Spirit Guides, Guardian Angels. We have a doorway to possibilities. We have floating away, winds of change, and we have gifts. Okay, so we have float away, so hot air balloon there, so plans taking off. Okay, some of you may actually be relocating or thinking about migrating your business. Maybe this is just a thought at this time and you're looking at the legalities of it. You're getting everything structured there. But it says winds of change blow, lofty goals in the clouds, drifting, hot air, and quest. More than anything, I feel, you know, this is your quest because you have the higher calling card there. I would say be mindful of any hot air, anyone promising you anything until you see it in the physical form in writing. You know, if you've been promised something by your boss, if you work for a company and it hasn't materialized just yet, you know, you could actually have a review period with them or talk to them about it. But I feel like this person will withdraw because they know that right now it's kind of off the table, but it could be something that will materialize in a couple of months. But you could take it as, you know, it's all hot air at this time until it is finally realized. And if you're getting new contracts, again, don't listen to the bluster, don't listen to the conversation, look at the writing. If it is documented in a legal document or it is emailed, I mean, if anyone's asking you to do something as well, get it in writing because this person could be changeable. So I would say, you know, unless it's in writing, it's not real. So I would say it like that. I mean, a lot of you may also be finding discounts and deals if you're making some sort of large purchase. A lot of you could be looking at going into real estate at this time as well. And I feel like you will find an opportunity and you may offer a lower price for it, but you may go like quite low to the point where you need to negotiate higher. And I feel logistically, you know that. And logically, you know that. I feel like you're really honest with yourself and going, okay, I'm going to be cheeky and offer a little bit lower, but they will negotiate you a little bit higher. But I feel like you come to an agreement where it's beneficial to both, okay? So we have doorway to open possibilities. It says potential, job opening, steps, walking away from something, shifting your focus, and risks. So you could be calculating, as I said, the pros and cons of something, either walking away from something or withdrawing from something. For some of you, you know, you may have a review on tasks that perhaps you don't really like doing and delegate it. Or if you are like an independent worker, it could be that you're outsourcing some of those tasks that you don't really want to do. Like you could find an accountant, or perhaps you have like an online service that helps you organize your diary, for example. Or it could be that you get somebody to be your PA, for example. So please take it as it resonates. But I definitely see the possibilities opening up because this is a new opportunity. Pages bring news, but it's also new energy. So I feel like there is an opportunity coming on in for you. And as I mentioned earlier, jobs opening up. You know, whether you work for a company, it could be a role opening up or a department or a new project. And if you're working for yourself, it could be that you're opening up new opportunities for new clients because you're either, you know, changing a style or rearranging things or even thinking about your prices, for example. It could be that you give a discount for loyal customers, for example, and it sees a lot of return energy to your industry. But we have gifts, and I mentioned earlier, you are very gifted, and, you know, something is being gifted to you. I mean, for some of you, and I don't really like to talk like this because, you know, it's not true for everyone, of course, but some of you may actually have a small win on some sort of competitive thing. Like, I'm not saying everyone goes out and plays a lottery, for example, but some of you could actually win something or the universe favors you because, you know, it can with these two cards indicate like a surprise win. Okay, so I want you to be aware of that. But it says here, giving and receiving, and that's the reciprocity energy. You're giving all of yourself. You're bringing your A game. You're so talented. And now you're looking at what you receive in return and how you can build on it, or how you can like reshape it, reform it, or walk away from it in order to gain more. Because the Queen of Pentacles is to have more. And we've got wealthy donor. So some of you will either receive commission or a tip, for example, or some of you, you know, you didn't get any inheritance cards here, but it could be that perhaps there is someone who has promised you something in their inheritance. It could be a discussion that perhaps you don't really want to talk about. You'd rather have the person, but it may be a topic of conversation there. Or maybe you are looking at your 401k and your acquisitions and your estate, as it were, and getting things organized because you're just being realistic, and you would be a wealthy donor for somebody as well. But it says here, retail sales, surprise windfall, okay, and generous. So I do feel that the universe is sending you an opportunity to have more, and your hands are wide open. And so is your wallet or your purse. You're like, yep, make it rain, make it rain. And I feel like you're making things happen for you because you're so invested in what you're doing already. And I feel like you're on the right path towards being stable because you have so many pentacles there. And of course, with the High Priestess, some of you may be cautious about the working environment or the economy right now. I mean, we all have cause to be a little bit cautious about that. But I feel like you're putting procedures in place to be really savvy to remain stable in your position. So I would say, looking at the energy, there is nothing to be worrying about over the next 6 weeks there, okay? So I'm just going to go and get a trinket or a rune before we close. Okay, so we have, so we have a bat, okay? So it could be that you're looking at where you hemorrhage money, where there's a drain in your finances. You could be also removing yourself from anybody who distracts you or drains your energy. You may also look at where you are feeling drained, okay? Because you have so much earth energy. It could be that you're looking at your diet or your body, okay? It could be there's something a little bit off there. Maybe you need to withdraw from something that has been making you feel low energy. With the Two of Wands there, you may actually just trial cutting some things out to see what drains your energy there. You know, the bat also is very intuitive, has high sonar energy. So intuitively, you may kind of make some sort of move in your career that benefits you, and you just didn't know how you did it. It's just instinctive. You just did it. Or it could be that you instinctively know that there are opportunities coming up for you, and you just, you know, seize the day on something there. I mean, it can also indicate that sometimes when things feel a little bit upside down, because bats, they tend to hang, don't they? That actually you see things from a different perspective, and by having that opportunity to see things from a different perspective, it means you're a very strong person and you see opportunities where others do not. Okay, so that's what's coming through there as well. So I will, oh my gosh, my guides asked me to go again. Now, that's so unusual, but I am, and I don't know what this is, but I'll go and look at it in a minute. But I just heard the word padlock. So either you are securing your finances, or padlock can indicate you are secure, okay? Or some of you may be looking at security if you run your own business. Could be a lockup, for example, somewhere to house your equipment or something like that. So I'll just leave that there. We have a spoon. Help yourself to more, okay? So the spoon can, of course, indicate that you're stirring things up a little bit or mixing things. And I feel like a lot of you could be mixing things right now to blend skills or blend what you do in order to create more. And that came up in your reading. So I'll leave that there. Thank you so much, my beautiful Sagittarians, and love and light.